I know you are in OBS and you're trying to figure out exactly how do I go about recording this thing the correct way, because I'm experiencing lag, or you may just not know how to record period in OBS. So let me show you exactly how to go about doing that. So first thing, let's go to settings, and in settings you will notice in the general part that there are your language, if you have multiple languages that you speak, or if you need a specific language, you can do that. And there's also themes that you can select, so you can change your theme. And I really like this Acree. I'm gonna leave it on that, or Acree, however you pronounce it. I'm not really worried about anything else down here. There's some other options that you can work with, but we want to go to the output because we're talking about recording today. Recording is right here is a recording tab. Please make sure you have this set to advanced. It's going to allow you to adjust the settings that I'm referring to. Now, this particular version of OBS, I have 30.1.2, which is telling me this is the current version. Now, if yours looks a little different than this, or you notice that some of the features that I have you don't have, or some of the features that you have I don't have, I apologize for that. Sometimes I don't know why some things are different. Let's go back to recording. My recording path is set to my J drive. So I'm going to let you know that make sure that you have your recording path on a device or drive that has plenty of space. As you know, videos uses a lot of space. And then recording format. Now I use Matroska or MKV. The reason why that I use this particular format is because I'm always recording multiple tracks. So if you're going to be doing multiple tracks, it lets you know in OBS MKV is the best option, especially if you're going to record longer videos. Now, if you're recording any video that's like 10 minutes or less, then MP4 would be your best option. Now you can remux this, and it lets you know down here MP4 movie will be unrecoverable if the file cannot be finalized. So I just keep it in MKV for default for safety reasons. Video encoder right now. So I have multiple options because I have two graphics cards that are inside this computer. And sometimes I bounce between them to see which one's going to give me the best option. So my NVIDIA NVENC that's down here is a 2 GB graphics card. So it kind of works great, but sometimes it doesn't work as well. And the AMD is the one that I recently acquired. So I am loving that graphics card. It's 8 GB and it allows me to play games a lot smoother. So for this setting, you want to have it set on AMD HW.H264 AVC, or if you have the NVIDIA on there, NVIDIA NVENC H.264. If you have neither one of those, and maybe you're just using your internal graphics card or internal video card that comes with your computer, then you can use the X264. Or if you see that you don't have any of those other options, use the X264. I will let you know that the X264, I have used it on a lot of my videos on this channel and on another channels that I have. And I have never really had an issue with this, but just know this is really using more of the computer resources. And if you have that extra memory on a graphics card, let the graphics card do more of the work. So, but I'm going to switch this to AMD. All right, the first option. This is fine. Keep that where it is, AAC for the audio encoder. Now, audio track, you want to make sure that you have these set. Now, normally I have these all checked. But what happens is when you record, it's going to record to all 6 tracks. Now, it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's just that if you're not using the other tracks, you might as well disable them. Rescale output. Right now I have it disabled, but if you have some type of 4K, then you might want to have this enabled for length source, which will allow you to rescale this to a smaller resolution, okay? Or you might rescale it up depending on your settings. This is something that I never really play with much, so you might not have to worry about it right now. I keep it disabled for now. Custom mux, that's empty. Automatic file, we want that unchecked. Now here is where people will argue. Constant bit rate is what I used to have it set on, and that basically means that it's going to give you a constant bit rate no matter what's going on. So, which is okay, but you got to think about sometime in graphics and games. Sometimes some games, the graphics change. Sometimes it's needing more, sometimes it's needing less. So it's always good to adjust these to get the best quality. This is one of those areas where you might have to adjust it until you get the best quality for your videos. But I'm going to tell you what works. If you're going to use CBR, I would suggest using at least 6,000 kilobytes per second. All right, that's going to give you 1080p quality. If you're going to do anything higher than that, 4K, I would say 10,000, 12,000 on up. Just know that your videos are going to require more space, but they're going to have better graphics. But in this case, I'm going to use CQP. CQP stands for Constant Quality Profile. And what this is going to allow you to do to get the best quality if you're using this actual NVIDIA type of graphics card. So if you don't have an NVIDIA or AMD and you're using just the X264, I'm going to show you another option for that. We want to make sure that CQ level is between 15 and 22. All right, the lower the number is, the better the quality is going to be, but the more space is going to require from your hard drive or your SD drive. So I'm going to keep mine at 18 right now, which is pretty good, and even 20 might be decent. So if you notice a difference and you seem like you want to get your quality a little better, once again, come back in and readjust this as needed. Keyframe interval is going to be set to 2 seconds. I have preset wise, I only have 3 options here. I don't know why, but some may have more than 3 options, but I'm going to keep mine on quality. All right, I have my profile set to high, and then I'm going to set my max B frames to 0. Okay, if you're going to be using the X264 because you don't have access to the other options, then definitely put it on constant bit rate. And then I would advise keeping this at 6,000 kilobytes. Anywhere 6,000, 8,000 kilobytes will give you the HD quality. Of course, you can go higher if you want to go 4K. I was recording earlier, most of the videos I've been recording, I was recording at 12,000 kilobytes, which seems to do fine with no problem. So you play around with that number, like I said, to get the best quality that you need. Let's look at the audio real quick. So on those tracks, you're going to have track 1, track 2, track 3, or whatever tracks that you have. Right now I have track 1 is my desktop, track 2 is my microphone, and track 3 is not named anything right now, but I can switch these around. I have 320 for the kilobytes per second for the audio bit rate. You can change these. The higher it is, the better the quality will be for the audio. And so you want to keep that in mind. You definitely want to have good audio when you're recording. All right, so let's go to the audio settings myself. Right now I have my sample rate at 48 kilohertz. I have it set to stereo. Of course, you can do other variations of this. Desktop, I have default, and desktop 2 I have disabled. And then my mic auxiliary audio I have set to my microphone USB audio codec, and then my aux 2 I have set to my line, my Zoom L8, which is what I'm using right now. So really great mixer for podcasts and streaming, anything. I have these other auxes disabled. Decay, fast. I'm not really worried about any of these down here, so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff down here, but the main important part is up here. Make sure that's set correctly. Video wise, we have the base resolution set to 1920. This is based off of what type of screen you're using on your computer. I just have an HP screen right in front of me, 1080 by 1080p, and then I have an old Dell computer that I just bought from the thrift store. It's just something to use for an extra visual purposes. But if you have a fancy 4K, then you might want to change this. You might see bigger numbers up here. But whatever your base is, you want your output to be at least 1920 by 1080. Okay, frames per second, you can set it to 30. That works. If you just recording like tutorials and stuff, you might want to just do 30. If you're doing gameplay, then set it to 60. We have hotkeys, which are basically keyboard shortcuts you can use, and all you gotta do is just click on something. And if you want to, for instance, if I want to do start streaming, I can click right here, and then I can press the letter T, and I can press the letter T again, and then you'll see that it's set to that. So whenever I press the letter T, it's going to start streaming, and whenever I press it again, it'll stop streaming. If you want to get rid of it entirely, just press the backspace button, and then that will get rid of that particular section. The event section, I have my process priority set as normal. You can keep it on normal, which is going to give you the best fluctuation, but if you feel like you want to have a better quality for its recording, then change it to above normal. But just know that it might mess up your gameplay a little bit, so you want your gameplay to be fluid and you still want the best quality possible. Now, I hope this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions about any of this, I know I kind of went through it really quick. Let me know in the comments. Do you use OBS, and how do you like using it? Are there any other softwares that you choose to use other than OBS? With that being said, this is Just a Vibe. Subscribe.